Hi, my name is Raul Rothblatt. I'm the president of Prospect Heights Democrats for Reform. We're here at a new arts venue in ClintonHill called Jack. It's led by one of our members of our club, Alec Duffy, and it's an exciting new venue bringing together many different art forms and also encouraging youth of these neighborhoods, this part of Brooklyn, to get involved and to find new ways to express themselves. Our club is a way to encourage our residents around here to get more involved by asking elected officials tough questions and for running for office. And we're really encouraging people to have discussions about the issues that are impacting us. The community police relations is something that everybody has strong feelings about right now. And we look forward to hearing what the residents around here have to say. So we are going to join the conversation as it is going on.
This is Coaching, I live in Fort Greene, and I'm a bit of an activist.
Nathan Thompson, I live in Flatbush. I'm on the 70th Precinct Community Council. Sometimes, I wouldn't say activist, mostly I yell at people.
My name is Denny DeYonker. I live in Prospect Heights. I'm part of the Prospect Heights Democrats for Reform and a member of the county committee and a concerned citizen.
I'm Ed Goldman. I live around here in Fort Greene, and I'm a member of Fort Greene Peace, Community Peace and Justice.
My name is Faye Moore. I'm a lifelong Brooklynite. The first time I went to a police brutality rally was in 1968, and we haven't come up with cogent answers yet. That's why I'm here.
My name is Cynthia Yalker. I live in Prospect Heights. I've been in Brooklyn for about 12 years. My name is Carrie Hinkson. I live in Mercy, but work not too far from here. And this is my first time being at an event like this.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yay.
Hi, I'm a Constable Albritton. I'm the chair of Community Board 8's Youth and Family Service Committee. And I'm just very concerned about the history of police brutality here in New York. Ever since I moved here, moved to Brooklyn, ever since I moved to New York, which was in 1982, the three things that I picked up immediately that were problems and are still problems are police brutality, housing, and poor education. And the police, for me, the police are just getting, the way they are being presented, it's just getting worse and worse. For them to turn their back on the mayor, I think that is not just disrespectful. I'm very concerned about his safety.
How about that?
My name is Jennifer Fenelon. I actually live in the Midwest area. I'm just here supporting my friend from my community.
Mike?
I'm Mike Fagan. I live in Prospect Heights. I'm the source of these little green cards about Brooklyn, which is a message board. It's been discussing the pros and cons of gentrification now for 10 years.
Norman Siegel, Civil Rights Attorney.
Thank you.
Shannon live in Sunset Park. I work for the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you for coming on this side.
I'm Ronnie New. I'm currently a member of Neighborhood Advisory Board, number 7, Sunset Park. And my son goes to Brooklyn Tech in Fort Greene. So I come in to see what's going on, to better understand my neighborhood, because I've been living here for nearly 4 decades.
I'm going to skip to my dear friend in the front here.
Julia Stolgan, native Brooklynite. Lived in just about every neighborhood. Grew up with, experienced, and witnessed abuse of police power all
Takia Slaughter. I live in Prospect, Reference Gardens.
I'm going to skip Raul.
Hi everyone, I'm Kicey from the Mayor's Community Affairs Unit. So obviously this is a very important topic all the time, but very hot right now. So I'm just here to listen, hear what everybody has to say. I'm really glad that I can be here to hear your perspective on everything that's happening in your community.
Thank you. We feel welcome.
I'm Jim Vogel. I live around here and I work for Senator Montgomery.
Yay.
Next.
And I'm Shelley Hagan and I live around here.
Skip to the back, please.
Oh, well, my name is Richard Hurley. I'm an attorney at law, and I'm here because of the police brutality issue. I'm in court tomorrow with a case where the son, Carlos Lopez, it was in the newspaper, he was killed by police officers. They happened to arrest the entire family October 1st. So I'm here to I'm going to represent the family tomorrow, but they arrested them once again on the 15th. So they have this issue with this particular family, who's really an innocent family. So it's going beyond just brutality in the streets. They're taking their brutality from the streets into the homes of the families of those that they are targeted. So I'm here just to get some insight.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Gonzalez. I'm a taxpayer and a resident of the community of Brooklyn, and I'm deeply concerned that my taxes to the tune of $150 million a year is spent on victims of police misconduct, money that could go to the schools, and a variety of other things is being spent to compensate people for that. And so I'm also angry over 10 years that figure for police misconduct has eclipsed $1 billion. So that's yet another issue, separate but related, in terms of the police misconduct issue that I'm concerned about, and I would hope everyone else is concerned about $1 billion of their tax money wasted.
Oh, okay. I'm Patty Hagan, and I live in Prospect Heights on the block where the fire was.
What fire?
And I went to both police units for Officer Ramos and Officer detectives. And I was most impressed by the behavior, the respectful behavior of the police at those two units.
Good evening, my name is Brian McLaurin. I am the Brooklyn Borough Representative for parts of Northern Brooklyn and Central Brooklyn for the Public Advocate. I live in this neighborhood, and as you know, the Public Advocate is the #2 person in the entire city behind the mayor. She's very interested in what's going on between the police and the community. One of the initiatives she's had since the beginning of the year was to have the police wear body cameras, because not only for transparency, but to save some of the money that this gentleman from the controller's office and the gentleman back there had concerns about. If you reduce the amount that goes into false claims, all that money could be funded into somewhere else. That's one of the main reasons why she's very she's very for having the body cameras, so that we can start to reduce these claims and have some transparency when these officers interact with persons of our community. So not only do I represent Brooklyn, I live in this neighborhood.
Well, mostly, I feel like a lot of people have been thinking about this. There's been a lot of things in the news, and I think people probably have a lot of strong opinions and a lot of informed opinions based on personal experience. So I really, I would just want to hear from people in the room, most of all. And that's something I think that would be interesting for me, and I think would bring it forward. We can't solve all the problems in the world, but we can at least, get things better in our neighborhood.
Yes, one of the issues that I would argue would contribute to the whole question of accountability of the police is an issue that I have been talking about. Some people in this room have heard me say this before, for over a decade, I suppose, and that is, who runs the police department? Who runs law enforcement agencies in the country? And upon research, I was able to learn that very large numbers of law enforcement agencies around the country are headed by some official who is in fact elected to their positions. Most commonly it's known as the sheriff, but in some places the chief or the superintendent or the director of police or whatever the nomenclature is. That top dog, as it were, is elected. In fact, in every county in the state of New York, the sheriff is elected. New York City also had elected sheriffs in each county before New York City's 5 counties were merged to form a city, 1898 or thereabout. But at that point, they all came together. Kings County had a sheriff that was elected by our great ancestors. But when New York City had their counties merged to form the city of New York, the top dog became a police commissioner who for the past 15 years has been appointed by the mayor. So we once had that in this city. But around the country, as close to us as Suffolk and Nassau, just north of us, Westchester, Rockland, the sheriff is close to the people, frequently makes appearances in the city and answers the questions. If you go to Rockland County, if you go to Orange County, the sheriff literally in full uniform walks through supermarkets and at least appears concerned about the issues that the citizens raise. Why? Because that sheriff is elected and campaigns like all of our other electeds and has to at least act like they're interested and appear response. You don't get that arrogant response that just came out of the mouth of Commissioner Bratton a few weeks ago. He said something to the effect, and it's all over the airwaves, I don't care what people think, I only answer to one person. And to my mind, that was the height of hypocrisy and arrogance that he only had to answer to Bloomberg. So I've been saying for at least a decade, to Blasio.
Casey got upset.
I'm sorry, I'm in trouble with Casey now. And so, I would like to think that Commissioner Bratton would be of the mind that he is responsible and answers to all of the 8.5 million people who live here. He doesn't think so. So I have argued that our state legislators, perhaps even our city officials, city council, would pass legislation making the office of the police commissioner an elected post so that the police commissioner answers directly to us at elections. In the context of private conversations, some of the electeds in this community and beyond have said it's a great idea, but not one person, with the exception of Charles Barron, has publicly stated. They all don't want to appear to be, challenging the status quo. Barron is the only elected official who believes that that should be an elected post, and he told me as recently as 2 weeks ago, in the near future, he is going to submit legislation into Albany making the New York City Police Commissioner an elected post. Where it goes, I don't know. But that is something in terms of accountability on top of several other things as well.
Thank you.
Every time, this is for Josh, every time I hear of these big payouts to somebody for wrongfully, being abused or wrongfully put in jail, I always think that the perpetrator of that injustice should have to pay somehow. It would end the abuse immediately if they had to actually pay, like if they put someone in an illegal chokehold and there's a consequence, they had to pay out of their own pocket for doing something that's in fact illegal or against rules and regulations. So, every time I hear that, I feel like Joe, my taxes are paying for an officer who basically committed a crime, or for some judge who put someone in, or the DA actually, in the case of Hines, who put someone into prison for 25 years incorrectly. Why are my taxes paying for this crime? And I think the person who committed that crime should have to pay somehow, and they should pay out of their pocket. So that's one thing. The other thing is, there was something, maybe it was on the Court Green blog about students and police, students like from Brooklyn Tech and police getting together and having conversations, which I think is a fabulous idea. I think the local precincts should be going into every local high school and sitting in the auditorium with the students and having conversations, and that would go a really long way to humanizing both ends of that. And I keep wondering, why are the police mean to our youth? There was that one video I saw where a young man was up against a car being put in handcuffs, and another officer comes, a plainclothes officer comes running up to him and starts punching him in the ribs for absolutely no reason. It's what kind of training did that officer get that he would treat a youth like that? If you treat a young man or woman in such a hostile nasty way, what possible result are you going to get out of that? You're going to get a very angry person out on the street. So, you know, it's something I would love to take to the higher ups in the precincts. Like, what are you teaching your officers that they would even think about treating a young person who is in a very sensitive state, you know, treating them in such a nasty, hostile way can only have one very negative result.
Thank you.
Well, I think certainly there's been police brutality mentioned since 1968. We know this is true. I think things are worse in recent years, in part because of the nightmare after 9/11 and the creation of Homeland Security and the militarized police, that there is it's empowered police, poorly trained, racist in many instances, whatever, to have this kind of war mentality. And so I think that's part of it, is that they see themselves as an armed force, able and, you know, charged with protecting. I mean, any of us who were on peace marches, you cross the Brooklyn Bridge and there's Homeland Security parked at one end. You know, that's hand in glove militarization. So I think that is a part of why things are even more intense. But I also want to say that I think, as a white person, that the recent discussions around the violence towards young black men in particular is really good, that for white people, and that I think black communities remember the names of those who were wrongfully killed, and it's really what's changed is that white people are more aware of it, the volume.
I think that a lot of it does have to do with identity and roles, and it's a real us versus them mentality, and it's not being invented by the individual police officers. It's where does this idea come from that a certain segment of society that doesn't even live in town comes in every day as an occupying army and is here to enforce standards of behavior that they don't understand, or they're not even aware of the fact, because of the inculcation of these ideas. They're not even aware of the fact of the standards necessarily that they're enforcing. You know, it's a culture that is divorced from us. It has, in many ways, been that way. I think Enid is correct that a lot of it is a psychological development that serves a larger purpose. You know, the New York City Police Force is what, the third largest standing army on the planet? I'm sorry, it's a scary thought. But they behave. One of the most positive things which ever happened to the New York City Police Department was the development of when Eric Adams, as a captain, started 100 Blacks in law enforcement, because it was changing the identity. And I think what I've seen is that there is a change in the identity among the younger officers, especially those of color, who come from a minority background, and we need to really encourage this. It really alarms me when, you know, Lynbrook is making decisions for Brooklyn.
I would just like to say that I think it is a shame that there's nobody from the 88 precinct here tonight, and I had asked Alec, whose place this is, would the police be invited here? And he said they had decided not to be a part of such discussions because they're, he didn't say because they're under fire, but I think they are under fire. And I think this is very one-sided. So I personally regret that there's nobody from the NYPD here, because they are people.
Stick to your point, let's address that issue first.
Okay.
Okay, I want to sort of answer to that because I work as a legal observer, and their job is not to listen to individual people. Their job is to listen to the higher-ups. So I think it's okay that we meet as a group to decide what we want to do because they're the ones with guns and weapons, okay? I also wanted to call to your attention some articles that I Xerox for this group. One is about the rise in police unions in New York City. You should look at that because it'll tell you why and how they got certain, privileges, like being able to live out of town. That is incremental over the years and how that happened. And the other one is the latest on the PBA, which is the crazy police union.
It's just that Raul didn't know why they weren't here, and I was just trying to say that Alec had made the overture, and they were under orders not to be here. Right.
I would just like to give you this. We go back and forth with this for many weeks.
Under orders, they said that it was better for, I don't know. I wasn't party to his phone call to the precinct, but
They don't have their stuff together right now.
well, I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying that the issue came up, and they aren't here because they felt it. My understanding from Alec Duffy that his answer from the 88th precinct was they were not getting themselves involved in something like this for reasons that I think are perfectly easy to understand.
Okay,
That's all.
I promise to give you one more minute at the back.
I don't
I'm
need
sorry.
another minute.
Okay, thank you.
But I do want to address something here, because, I think even if you have people who are mostly on the same side, there's still some very passionate differences. Even among people who are, who would agree that Pat Dolan should be fired.
Pat Lynch.
Pat Lynch, sorry.
Doesn't matter what we think, we're not in the union.
But even among people who agree on that, there's still some vast, passionate differences. And I figured, that's also an area just to discuss those differences. Within this room, there's a huge difference of experiences. Even if people have, live next to each other, have a lot of the same things in common, but there's a lot of differences, and I think a lot of what we can accomplish right here, right now.
I don't dispute
Yeah.
that. I was just trying to have a point of information. That's all.
1 minute. You're going to be next after him, but I'm still insisting on your 1 minute. I really do, because we need to talk next.
Well, one thing I think is worth noting is that this police violence that people are observing is not a new phenomenon. As I've been involved in this for a long time, but I remember in 1983, I think it was, when Michael Stewart, who lived in this neighborhood, was strangled and beaten and strangled by 11 police. And the difference is that then there was no movement in response to it. And what you're seeing now is a phenomenon that's extraordinary, I think. So one of the things that I think is really important is that people throughout the country, but in New York City, have been mobilized in a way that we have not seen in a long time on this issue. And that has reverberations. And they're young, and they're multinational, but they're young, and it's changing the name of the game. The other thing that I think is worth saying is that what this movement has raised, among other things, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I perceive it, is a challenge to the system and to the way we perceive of the problem. And I think the problem, to my way of thinking, is Not that there are some bad police, and not even that there's bad police leadership, but that there's a problem with the way people understand what policing should be. So the whole idea of broken windows is an unproven theory, a false premise, and leads to the kind of problem of police violence that people are perceiving. And the other and connected to that is the idea, I think, that the solution to every problem is to have more or better policing, as opposed to other ways of dealing with things. Like, for instance, drugs and police connect in a way that police harass and arrest and put in jail people who deal with drugs on any level of drugs you have, as opposed to having a system that deals with that doesn't put people in jail for drugs, that resolves their social and health problems. Similar to schools, which are now filled with police. And the idea of how you control students or how you control kids on the street is you bring in the police and you chase them away, as opposed to creating better schools with more activities or community programs in which young people can deal with it. So I don't really see the point in having a discussion and a dialogue with either the cops in the precinct or the precinct head. The problem that we're facing is not that we have bad leadership in the police department. It's a political problem with how we understand police.
I promise you now.
First, police have a right under the First Amendment to speak. As long as they're not on the job and they're not wearing a uniform, they can be here and they can speak. I disagree with the last speaker. It's terrible leadership in the police department. You talk about broken windows. Who's the architect of the broken windows? William Bracken. Glasses were made, and deal with the devil when it brought Bracken back. And that's part of the problem right now. We are political leaders, some who I am friendly with, who drink the Kool-Aid and support broken windows. I think you don't really want for your future meetings the commander or the higher-ups. You want the rank and file. And you should try to explain to the rank and file that they have a right off the job without their uniform to come and speak their mind. And if there's any retaliation, I'm sure there will be people, whether it's the Guild, the Securities Union, or private lawyers, who will defend those people. And why? You take a look at broken windows, and you will find common ground. One of the complaints by the rank and file is the quota system. They're told they got to do X summonses each month and Y arrests each month. They don't want to do it because it's numbers for numbers' sake. It's also an aspect of how much money the city makes over the summonses and the arrests, and even when we get people out of court, they've got to pay a fee very often if they can afford it. So you could find common ground, if you wanted to find common ground, which is an alliance to get rid of broken windows by, of all people, not only the civil rights community and protesters, but even some of the rank and file. The higher you go in the totem pole at the police department, you will find the script, and they will follow that script. Also, you will find the higher you go up, the less diversity. So there is lots of issues that you could have the dialogue, and you could find common ground.